glitches all the time. Okay, great, that worked. Now, it wasn't the same setup that I used. If anybody was waiting for that one, they're going to have to figure it out otherwise. I don't know. Anyway, so I was just saying community breathing, yoga Narada, tension release. This is very light. It's a portion of yoga Narada. I do not teach yoga classes. I teach a certain way for people that I'm working with who I can't see on this public platform. So this is not the typical class is much deeper, much more intertwined, much more coached. But we're just trying to release tension and stress. We're just trying to get a little breath awareness, get a little posture awareness. It's a self-assessment tool, right? It can be used as like a meditation even. So we're going to come down on the floor and we're just going to find a nice comfortable position, letting the feet, you can either let your feet cross, diamond shape, feet straight out, relaxing into the sitting bones. So we're going to take a moment and find that nice heavy, feel like you have a nice long dinosaur tail from the top of your sacrum, draping down through the floor, and it's really, really long, and it starts to trail behind you when it's really far away. Everybody has a different alignment in their pelvis, right? And I'm just going to mention this for a moment. Some people, and sometimes it's not just the bones, it's how we're holding our posture. So I can give sort of a general visceral cue to maybe help you realize what your pattern is, right? Obviously, if I can't see, I can't tell you. We're going to think of our sitting bones. It's like a teepee. Sitting bones are going to spread really wide and really heavy into your seat, into the floor. Then we have that long, dense tail of the spine draping down through the center, and we're balancing, we're aligning based off of those points, plumb lining into the floor. We're going to let the spine organize all the way up through the crown. You're letting your body adjust by using those cues. We're going to so now there's a clarity maybe through your posture in your breathing. And we want to find a place where it's most efficient. We're not holding. Posture shouldn't feel held. Posture is just a description of where you're at, right? You can have, whether you think it's positive or negative is your opinion. So posture is just a physical description. It is not, you can work on changing your posture based on anatomical correctness. But just there's a lot of confusion with like good posture, bad posture. It's not good or bad. It's just where you're at. And you can look at anatomical correctness to shift where you're at, right? So sometimes I think phrases catch on, all that stuff. So we're just going to breathe into this. We're going to close our eyes, let the breath release and drop all the way down into the base of your spine, into the base of your pelvis. Let's close the eyes gently and just find a sense of awareness with your internal breath. Let your breath go. You'll notice when you let your breath go, it becomes longer and deeper and maybe more quiet, almost like when you're going to fall asleep or when you're resting at the end of the day. That's the breath we want to try to harness. That's the breath we want to look for. That's our true breath. We want to feel that breath move and shift and create a sense of awareness of posture and movement in the body with the breath. That gives us sensation and proprioception. We're going to just gently open the eyes, take the palms together, and glide forward and back, letting your breath come up into your palms, still feeling that connection from the base of the spine and pelvis, drawing up into the hands, letting your fingers glide in between one another. And then we're going to separate the hands, feel that nice energetic buzz in between your palms. Let the breath expand through the palms out into the space around you. This is just like a nice yawning feeling. We're going to breathe through the back of the body and just gently move and explore. Let your breath guide your movement into expanding into all the space you have around you. So instead of seeing the space with your eyes, you're going to feel the space with the breath through your body. Feel that you can expand in every direction, up above, down below, around the sides, behind you. So this is like a nice, gentle, flowy movement. You're moving wherever you feel. You're not moving where you see me moving. You're moving from a sensation and a feeling inside your body. And even if we're doing choreographed movement, we still want that quality to manifest. Then we're going to use the breath, gathering from the outside through the palms, taking that from around you, and just sensing that energy over the eyes, hovering over the eyes, breathing into it, and then just washing over the face around the eyes, finding a nice sense of releasing, expansion, opening, letting go through the face. Then we're going to take our middle fingers and use a nice exhale, massage above on the brow bone. We're going to exhale, carving from the inside to the outside with a little lift up into the hairline. So we're going to exhale as we massage and lift through and up. And again, exhale. Try to relax your face as you're massaging here. Now we're going to use our index finger. We bend this a little bit. We're going to sweep. We go, when we massage, we're mostly going along the bones. We're going to go underneath the eye on the orbital bone. So you want to find that bone. We're going to swoop under and open. Breathe through that. And you'll feel that it goes up again into the hairline. Exhale. Let that release feeling come through. Let your breath help you find a nice release. You're just gently, you're going to feel like you're going through the sinuses a little bit here, and just letting that openness come through and up, moving the lymph, all this good stuff. We're going to take our fingertips into the forehead and just take a nice exhale, scrubbing up and down. A little more vigorous and just moving lightly. It's like you're ironing out any lines. You're stimulating the lymph under the skin, getting a nice flush. And then make your way to the outside of the eyes. This is very, very light, almost very light touch on the skin, circular on the temples, just going around. And then just continue down, relax your jaw. You can poke with your fingertips a little bit more and massage in between the upper and lower jaw. And we're just going to sort of breathe and poke around. There's a lot of tight tissue here, maybe a little bit more stiff and maybe more condensed. And we're just going to poke through the fingers and let yourself move around to where you feel there's tension and holding. And it doesn't take very much, but you want to relax your jaw a little bit to help yourself find that. Now let's go up into the scalp. We're going to use our fingers. We're going around the ears, but in a lifting up motion. We're like you're washing your hair. We're scrubbing and lifting up above the ears. And then we'll go around the perimeter of the ears towards the back of the head. We're getting that lifting, scrubbing motion. And then going around the back. And then eventually we're going to come down until we've reached very, very top of the spine, where the head and the spine meet, right? That's our occipital. If you move your head a little bit, you'll feel that horizontal little crevice there. We're going to take a nice massage in there into that crevice. Relax your jaw and your chin and just breathe into that. You can go side to side laterally, and you can move a little bit wider out towards your ears. That kind of feels good. There's some tension held there probably. Then we'll come back in close to the spine. Try to relax a little bit into your hands. And now we take a deep circular massage. We're not on the spine. We're on the sides of the spine from the top, working down the back of the neck and just breathing into this massage. And you can feel these muscles get much tighter. And when you get down to the tops of the shoulders, I mean, there can be, maybe yours are loose. There can be some serious tightness here. Now, we're gonna, again, palpate a little more at the fingertips. We're digging around the tops of the shoulders. We're gonna exhale and just take a nice sweep and release and shake it off. Take your hands back again, letting the breath in, and exhale, relaxing the shoulders, peeling away any stress and tension and shaking it off. One more time, going back, and exhale. Try to release and breathe into this, flush and shake it off. Now we're going to let the breath wake up from the base of the spine and pelvis. Let's interlace the fingers and just lift up through that center inside body, lifting and breathing and yawning up, and then just wiggling out of that a little bit more. So we're just shifting. We get a nice little peeling up out of the side hip, the low back, just feeling that the spine gets a little less compressed into the pelvis. We're breathing into that space. Come back into your center. Keep your fingers interlaced, but soften your tail to soften your crown, and that lets your arms drape down. We relax through the arms. Now we're breathing through the chest cavity, but we're using the arms to sweep around. We make a nice little window here. Now I'm imagining my breath is into between the webbing of the ribs. Inhale, expanding through that side, and we just massage the arms around. Exhale through the other side. You're kind of hanging a little. Now soften your tail under and your arms will sweep around and down. Maybe you feel your upper back. Now we're going to inhale through the side ribs and up. And exhale over and around and down. Soften the tail. Letting the breath in, you can think of your tail reaching long to find that lift in your chest more easily. So again, we're using the pelvis to organize the chest and around. As the breath comes in, reach the tail long to come up. We're going to sort of suspend at the top. Take a deep breath. We're going to exhale, change direction over. Let the tail soften under to come down and around. Find that nice deep yawning. Inhale up and through center. And exhale over and forward around. Inhale through the side ribs. Find that little window through the elbow and up. And exhale over. And tail softens to come down. Inhale, breathe long through the tail to find that space to come up. Now we're going to come up through the center, find that internal lifting up through the midline, yawning up, lifting inside your body to reach through the arms. We're going to keep that and keep that lift and separate the hands and just circle through the wrists, through the fingers, breathing the arms open. Just let the arms open and release and eventually hang down off of a nice long spine, and then just let go and relax. Now from here, we're going to bring the feet out in front. We're going to just yawn from one side to the other. Keep thinking of that midline breath. There's your awareness and your initiation is always through the midline of your body. You want to give your body, your brain, your proprioception a reference to balance. You have to create that. Now we're going to expand and open around that centering balance. We're going to take one palm up. The other hand is pushing back. Fingers tips are pointing away. We're just going to yawn through the right side. Push with the back palm to open the chest and just hang this arm. Let your shoulder blade, your scapula drop, and then relax and change. Sometimes it might not be as easy. You can bend your elbow. You can open your palm wide. We're going to use the effort of lifting up to go over the tail. We just feel the chest breathe open and let go and change. Letting the breath come in and release and change. We're kneading from one side to the other, going up and over And release and change. Again, breath comes in. And release and change. One more time. Breath lifts you up. And release. Now, let's take both of the arms up. We're going to lift up and circle through the wrists, through the ankles, breathing and circling around, feeling like your fingertips and toes are little tentacles. We're working our way down all the way to the floor. And rest your hands on the floor. Feel that your head releases over. Think of that shape, that rounded shape through your back, so you don't just feel stiff like a board. Feel that you can open into that roundness because your breath can get into your back ribs. A lot of times that's a place where the breath doesn't really get into. And when there's a lot of tight musculature and all that other stuff, fascia around that area, it can actually restrict your breathing. So we want to be gentle and find the release of the head. The head's heavy, right? So we let the head go to let the shoulders go. And we're just hanging over. I mean, it looks really lazy, but there's a lot of connection going on here. We're going to exhale and just gently drop the head. Try to exhale through the nose. The breath through the nose has a different effect into your nervous system, but it's not as easy as breathing out through the mouth. So if you can breathe out through the nose, I mean, if you don't know about, nose breathing, it's sort of a popular thing right now. So just breathing out and dropping down. There's a really interesting study done with breathing out, breathing through the nose. I don't know if I recommend taping your mouth shut, which is what I'm seeing people do, but you can read about it. There's a book called Breath. And then we're just going to relax and hang. Now we're going to sway the head from side to side, breathing out and shifting and swaying. Let your head shift and drag. And that heaviness, you fit like an old elephant here, shifting and dragging. You're rocking on your sitting bones and just feeling that nice swaying. Let the breath kind of swirl inside your body, shift from one side to the other. Now we're going to use our hips, use your low belly to lift up and walk backwards. And then the breath lifts your hip up. So you're just dragging your leg along the floor. And imagine, I'm going really slow today to try and get into the joints a little bit deeper with the breath. So as you shift and feel that weight release through gravity, through your bones, you'll feel all the tissues around that be a little bit more influenced. So sometimes when we're really quick and fast, the muscles activate to make you move quicker and faster and more agile. So we want to do the opposite. At least today I'm focusing on that. We're going to lift up, now come forward, drop down. Now you're using your sits bones like feet, pushing down through the opposite one to propel your hip over. Don't think of the lifting side. Think of that push to let go and push to let go, because that really feels like an elephant. Push to drop and push to drop and push to drop. And then we're just going to relax and hang the head over, breathing out, letting the breath get into your upper back and wideness through the ribs. Now we're going to draw the tail down into the floor. Let the breath come in and up along the front of the spine. So as the tail goes down, we find that loop in and up along the front, down and out through the back. So we're just drawing through that energy to balance into rolling up. As you come all the way up, you should feel it's easy to open your chest and balance your head, and then just let it go. It's effort to hold that, or to find that, I should say. We're going to just round the tail under. Now we have a little bit of a scoop through the belly. We're going to take our fists and just drum on your sacrum, drum into your low back sacrum, and breathe and look for the tightness or the tension or the holding. Imagine, and your hands are releasing and stimulating that release to let go through fascia, connective tissue, letting some blood flow get there, letting some fluids get there. Go out to the outsides a little bit and into your glutes here. So you're sort of drumming around, lots of stuff going on into the backside hips, those posterior hip so much there. Now we're going to go up the sides of the spine. Going up the sides of the spine towards your kidneys, if you can, and then drumming back down again. Now we're going to use our fists, and we're just going to bounce off the back sides of the hips. So right where the socket is, around that area, right? So we're on the hip, not on the leg. That's the whole point. So that this is another thing. It's good for you to know where on your body, don't be offended by this, but where is your hip? Where are you touching your hip? Are you touching your thigh? Are you touching your knee? Are you touching your shins? A lot of times people just go wherever and they're not being specific, but we're trying to be specific here. Now, we're going to go from the back of the hip, from one side to the other, and see how I'm just sort of heavy and sort of oscillating and feeling that gentle sort of impact from the momentum in the bones. We're moving through the bones and breathing and flushing any tension and tightness down and out through the feet. So this is the posterior hip, the back of the hip. Now we're going to come down the sides of the legs. We have an open palm, loose. We're going to use the heels of our hands. We are going along the thigh bones here, the outside of the thighs, with a scooping, fluffing motion. So the quadriceps and lots of other things, the IT bands, we're just fluffing and releasing any tension and tightness away from the bone, right? So our femur bone is the longest and thickest bone in our body, and it holds stuff. So why not just help your body out a little bit? When you do deep stretching, and you don't really need to do deep stretching as much if you do something like this in the meantime. So yes, deep stretch and doing this before deep stretching is very, very helpful. So you don't want to just overstretch the same large muscles all the time. You have to get into the little nitty-gritties that are actually holding on to stuff in your body that maybe needs help sort of letting go. Now, we're going to take our fists and we're patting, not on the knee, above the knee, where the quads insert. So the attachment points, or near the attachments, going around the top of the thighs. And then we're going to go down into the knee joint itself. We're go gentle here, pat, move all around. I mean, it feels good, right? You're going to choose a force, if you will, that feels good on your body, right? So you're not trying to copy me, you're trying to see what feels good on yourself, self-assessment. Fingertips, we're going to tap right into the kneecap, into the patella, breathing into that. So there's a vibration that travels into the joint and stimulates the nervous system. This is what happens every single time we take a step in walking and in many other movements. But vibration is like the first sign. Sound, wonderful. Your body really responds. And sometimes bad sounds, your body really responds, right? So now we're going to tap shin bones. Closest bone to the surface of the skin. We're going to tap, tap, tap all the way down the shins to the ankles. And tapping back up again. You might feel tender or sensitive. If you ever get acupuncture, your acupuncturist will probably run their finger right down your shin to do a little bit of an assessment with what they need to do. It's usually part of it. Now, we're going to lean back, use the heels of the hands. We flush through the quads. We start at the hips. We want the full length of the quadriceps along the femur bones. So we're just going to go a little bit to the inside. And here, like I said before, you can use more pressure. So it's safer and feels better to maybe go deeper on certain areas of the body, and this is one of them. But again, you're going to do what feels good for yourself. We're flushing from the top crevice here, this little fold in the socket, and then we're going to focus on that little upper part. Lean back a little and just bounce your hands. So we engage the hip flexors a little bit by leaning back and then bounce the hands off of them. Go a little bit to the outsides if you want. And then flush down and up. I like to really get all around the leg because our legs are round and the quads wrap around the legs, right? So now we're going to go fluffy motion, loose hands, fluffing around the outside of the shin bones. We get a nice little bouncy breath release motion. These are the peroneals. I always say, if you've ever had shin splints, you know exactly where these are at, but they don't get a lot of attention in terms of stretch, but they can hold a lot of tension and kind of mess up the alignment between your knees and your ankles, even your hips, everything, right? So we just want to make sure that that's sort of letting go, nice and open. Very important area. And then we're going to just gently bring the feet back in. Let the knees hang open to the sides. Use the tops of your hands. Now we go down on the inner thigh from where the hips are. So we're flushing down this adductor line. Come all the way down the inside of the thighs. Now go light. This can be sort of like a tender spot on your leg. So you're going to just do whatever feels good for your body. But know that you're going away from your center, right? Your intention is to flush away from your center towards gravity. Now, from here, flexing through the heels, we have a slight engagement through the calves. We're going to take our fists, take a breath, and exhale, drop into your calves. Breathing out and just feeling that your palms release and gently drop, and you get that nice little lateral shake side to side through the calf muscles. They could be a little bit tender or sore for you. And if they are, you're going to go lighter. You're going to do a little bit more repetition and go more gentle with the distance of your drop, right? So it feels really good if you're actually really sore in your calves because it kind of moves things around. Just a regular calf stretch might not be enough. We want this side to side cross fiber release. Then we're going to come down into the Achilles a little bit and just tapping and breathing through that lower calf soleus into your Achilles. And then just bring your palms back behind. Let your legs come out long and give a good shake out. Releasing through the back knees. We're going to shift in the hips, shift in the shoulders. Now let's take a breath in. Bring your right knee up. And then exhale, feel a nice little gathering through the low belly and let the leg go. And change up. Find that gathering to release. And again. And again. Now from here, relax the legs. Just let the feet sort of hang apart. And we're just going to do these little tiny taps. We're moving through the bones again, tapping the big toes and separating. You know, sometimes we do a bigger sort of explosion breath with this, but for us, let's just do this little movement. It's nice in your hip sockets too, because you're moving freely inside the joint there without the muscles having to do anything. Now from here, let's bring the feet in, and we're just going to go gently rolling through the feet, rolling through your ankles, moving around here, and just sort of massaging and breathing into your feet. Then we're going to relax the feet on the floor, start to massage where you see your heel, that line on the inside of your heel under your ankle bone. We're going to massage into that line. So this is the adduction line of the foot. And again, this is where we release and roll in or drop in. It's harder to stay lifted and stimulated in this area. And then we're just going to sort of come around and kind of dig in there. You can dig with your fingers into that crevice of your heels. And then come through into the inside arches. You're going to take your thumbs probably are better here to really mush and massage into your arches. Go from your heels, working up into the balls of the feet, breathing into that, and just kind of moving around. Try to relax your feet as you're massaging around here. You might feel a little cramp start, that happens sometimes. And then go underneath the balls of your feet. That's where your toes come out. So each toe joint is called a ball. It looks like a ball if you look at an x-ray. And we're just going to open underneath the toes. So it's very important, this is where a lot of things happen alignment-wise that can get congested, right? So Sometimes our toes need some more breathing space. Maybe your shoes are too small. Maybe there could be so many reasons, but it's nice to just be bare in your feet and massage in your feet and let this open, because this affects your alignment throughout your whole body. And then from here, hold your toes with your hands underneath your feet. Hold space in between your toes, but relax your feet. Breathe into that space between your toes. So you have these nice little froggy feet here. And then gently slip your hands out to let that release. Now we're going to just walk through the feet. Let's take our hands back behind. Knees are up towards the ceiling. There's your sitting bones, you're going to gather them. So it feels like your sitting bones gather through your tail. Just sweep your tail under, and that gathers your legs tightly into your center. We're going to exhale and go from your heels. Breathe through the arches, expanding balls of the feet, toes. Find your froggy feet. Use your toes to peel up and over. There's a little doming. We're going to exhale. You can look at your feet and see the shape of the dome that happens over your toes. So sometimes, a lot of times, it's uneven, right? Maybe one toe joint is working harder than another. So we want to just sort of send that message to be nice and even. And once you get too far away, reverse it with your toes going up and over. Again, that dome you can see. Drag your heels back to drag your toes. Be careful of when your toes go over here. If my heels pull back and my toes pop up, that's a little too soon. You want to actually relax your toes. You go over, relax, melt your feet and drag. And then go up and over and melt. You feel your arches expand and drag. Eventually the toes pop up, but from being dragged, not from bringing more effort and tension. Relax and just shake it out. We're going to let the feet come back into whatever folded position feels comfortable. Now we have the happy hamster. We're going to take a deep breath and just massage around the ribs. Take a deep breath in and feel the expansion into the sides. And exhale, let it go. All throughout your belly. Inhale again. So you can feel like a balloon. Your chest fills up with air, and then exhale. So now we're going to come down into the front of the hips. And this is where some lymph is. Just massage right into those creases. And now we'll come up into the center and just take a nice little exhale, scrubbing up and down, letting go of any tension that's being held here in the chest. And then we're going to take our nice sweeps, just sweeping down from the ribs into the pelvis, into the low belly. And then we'll go underneath the sides of the ribs, getting a little bit more space there, breathing into that flush and stroke, and then come underneath the other side, little breath here. We're going to come back through center, relaxing through the shoulders, finding again that tail energy down through the floor. And it's not tucked under, it's not lazy, right? It has energy. It's reaching down through the floor from the top of the sacrum, and the sits bones are wide. Now from here, we're going to find that, interlace the hands behind the head, and just feel that your jaw and chin relax as you breathe through that tail energy down. You relax through the jaw and the chin. You can close your eyes a little bit for this. Use your breath through the back of the head and neck into your palms. Feel the tail draw down. Find that long plumb line through the body. So everything else is organizing around the bones here. We want the bones to lead posture. Everything else, if we try to squeeze this, pull this up, pinch that, it's way too confusing for the system. The bones organize the soft tissue. We're going to sweep, tail drops down, and the palms sweep up. We feel that lightness come through the crown of the head, and we release the arms around and down. Now that we've found that, just let your head drop over. Take your opposite hand to massage into the front of the shoulder. Again, lots of lymph going on here, breathing into that, and just letting this generally let go a little bit. Focus maybe up towards your clavicle a little bit. There might be a little bit more holding. There's probably a little bit more holding. And then just relax and come around to the other side and just let yourself explore with where you need to go. You can move your head a little bit. You'll feel a little bit of that untangling into the neck, shoulder. Breathing into this. And then coming back up through center, we're going to exhale and just drop the palm over the shoulder. You're patting yourself on your back. We're going to exhale and then find your own rhythm here and just feel that you release and find a sense of letting go. So there's a little bit of awareness coming up into our upper back ribs. So we kind of get a little bit over the top of the shoulder. And if not, it's just the top of the shoulder and you can just let your breath go there. We're going to feel that, we have the top ribs. We don't want to feel stuck at the very top of the shoulder blades. We want to sort of loosen that area up. Our lungs go all the way up there. We want to use full capacity of the lungs, or be able to, right? And then coming back down, let your tail soften. Now we're going to gather inside. Inhale, feel the breath lift you up from inside. Feel your tail go down to lift you up. We're going to keep that lift and just exhale, let the arms go. And let the tail soften. Feel the breath lift you up. Each little vertebrae lifts, and in between, there's breath. So each little disc has breath lifting you, lifting you, lifting you, lifting you. We keep that and let the arms go. One more time. Soften the tail under. Find the breath. Find that connection in and up along the spine. Keep lifting, 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 and let the arms go. Now we're going to shake it all out. Shaking and breathing out and releasing from the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists here. We want to get a really good shake, kind of like muscle shaking, tissue shaking off the bone here, like we did with our lower body. And you can kind of let your head hang over. We especially want that fuzziness to travel down into our hands, releasing through the wrists, and especially, letting go of all that forearm tension that we're all probably really feeling these days. Breathing out. And then from here, let's interlace the fingers and just compress and release, breathing into the palms. You can shear the heels of your hands a little bit forward and back here, breathing into that. And then we're going to relax through the wrists and just glide around, feeling that massage in the wrists, breathing through this. And then we're going to reverse it, come back around the other way. Try to relax and draw the shoulder blades down as you're finding this momentum, your own rhythm. And then we're going to separate and just feel the palms breathe open. And you're going to collect from the center of the hand in. We're going to inhale, open. Exhale, expand. And just feeling that open and close. So a lot of times we don't stretch our full hand, right? We might reach to pick something up, but we want to feel that this center palm is really breathing open. With that in mind, let's go ahead and come onto our hands and knees. Think of this breathing open as you place your hands. However you want to get there, just come around onto your hands and knees. And now from here, so we have a nice balance. Our hips are plumb lining over the knees, and our shoulders, bottom of the shoulder blades, they might be up a little bit. Draw them a little bit down. And you're just going to shift from side to side a little and see if you can feel your body weight resting into the heels of your hands. If you really need a cushion underneath your palms, that's fine too. Now we're going to go very gentle here. Let's go ahead. We have the heels gently touching. We're going to think of that midline breath. The abdomen lifts up to the ceiling, and that rounds our back. You're going to look in towards your belly and just take a nice exhale.
pushing the floor away to deepen. Again, that opening wide between the shoulder blades comes through. Relax to come forward. Feel that your tail releases long. It's all about the tail reaching back to open the chest forward through the shoulders. You can look out. We're going to lift the heels, tuck the toes under, take a little bend in the elbows, and it's like someone pulls your tail back a little bit more. Exhale. We're going to come forward. The abdomen lifts, the feet release as that happens long. And exhale, curl. So we're feeling that openness through the upper back ribs, expanding with the breath. As the breath comes in, find your tail, release and long through the tail. You can lift the heels, tuck the toes here right away, and exhale, bend the elbows to pull the tail back a little. We're going to come forward, find the abdomen lifting. That initiates your curl and then deepens your curl. Exhale, breathe into your back body wide. Letting the breath come in. Releasing the tail long. And exhale, chest opens, elbows bend. Now we're going to come back and let the feet lengthen long. There's a light touch through the heels here. You're looking down almost like a tabletop towards the floor. You want to be careful. You don't want to pull and round your back. You want to feel your tail long and feel that there are creases in the fronts of your hips. We're not trying to stay flat and held like a plank. We are trying to engage through this posture, right? So don't change anything through your bones. Let your belly hang. You're going to find your belly. Pull your belly in and up without changing. Now, there are marginal changes, right? We're not going to go there, but we're going to let the belly hang. Belly scoops a little bit up. Now, it's not scooping for dear life. Let the belly hang. A little gathering. Gather the belly in and up. We're going to keep that sense of gathering. We're looking down at the floor. You're going to wag your tail. You're going to sweep your feet around and look at your feet with your eyes. Wag your tail and go to the other side. So we're turning on the knees. We're shifting and turning side. Shifting and turning side. Shifting and turning side. Shifting and turning side. Be careful. You're going to find a little bit of a lean. Be careful you're not leaning all the way over. Use your tail. This can be tiny. Tail and tail and tail and tail. Your tail stays long. Come back to center and then just slide your right palm out to release. You're going to turn and look away. Abdomen brings your palm back in. Find your long tail to release your other palm. You turn and look away. Abdomen brings you back. We're just kneading. Very gentle. This isn't our big situation. And back in. We're just getting a little bit of space and breath. And back in. Sometimes less is more throughout your day, right? We're going to lift the heels, tuck the toes under, walk back to your knees. Push your tail to hang back over your heels. The knees can separate. We're hanging the arms over the knees. We're going to just drop the head, drop the tail, drop your heels. You're going to shift your tail to hang over the heels and just kind of bounce your tail a little bit to let that release come through the Achilles into your feet. Take your hands really close to the toes. Take a deep breath and push, stretching your legs to hang your body over your legs. So there's a plumb line now from your tail balancing down through the back of your heels. We're just going to hang and release and breathe here. We're going to also hold onto the elbows and feel that you're gently pulling your elbows down to the floor to breathe into that upper back neck release. Find the breath through your upper abdomen. You're going to lift the upper abdomen to the ceiling. Let go of your elbows to feel really heavy, hanging the arms. Find that lift through the upper belly to the ceiling so you can drop your tail down through the floor. As you're rolling up, you're going to breathe into each little tiny space between the vertebrae, getting more length and support.
on your way up. And as you get almost all the way up through the head, you have a little pencil under your chin. You're going around that pencil, find the tail, find the length in the hips here, and just feel that openness with standing upright. Feel the openness in your chest, letting your shoulders hang wide. So now that we found our posture on the floor, we're just ending with finding an easy standing posture. All the work we did on the floor reflects into this. And we find that feel your tail from the top of the sacrum draping down, long through the floor and out behind you. Brontosaurus tail. And that gives you a sense of openness in the hips. Everything's organized. All your organs have their space in their little house that they're living in. The shoulders are nice and open. And all you have to do is keep thinking of that tail when you walk a little bit. Sometimes things happen when we start walking and moving fast. And, you should be able to do what you want to do, but then come back to releasing. So this gives me an idea. So maybe what I'll do, instead of being on the floor for February, I'm just sort of talking out loud, I'll just there's a whole standing sequence with all of this stuff too. And I think I'll do more movement. Instead of standing and breathing and just more being acute, I'll do standing and breathing with more of the movements, the circular movements. We'll try that out. Okay. Thank you very much. So yes, next week is February. Same time, same place, Wednesday, 12. I try to stick to 45 minutes. If anyone has questions or comments, let me know. Other than that, thank you very much and have a wonderful week. Bye.